We're going to talk about Ethereum potentially going to $5,000. Yes, it seems extreme, but there's a lot of things happening that you may not be aware of yet. So hi everyone, welcome. If you're new, subscribe, hit the bell button, leave a like, and most importantly, leave a nice, normal comment. Anyways, we need to talk about this because obviously I feel that Ethereum is ready to pop. We'll look at some chart analysis in a bit, so stick around. I'm not going to just throw a number at your head. I'm going to give you a realistic prediction of why I think $5,000 is probably the most realistic point where we can go to, but maybe higher. And I'm also looking at other people's predictions, as in there's a few people that think that Ethereum's going to go to like $80,000, maybe $100,000, which I find. Yeah, anyways, moving on. So, first things first, happening very, very soon, the Berlin update. So this is coming out, I believe, the middle of April. So testnet before the 7th of April, scheduled for running on the 14th of April, right? WAP, which is good. So that's one thing, right? That's one thing about it in terms of what's happening, right? So there's one nice little update. And what the Berlin update is 4 EIPs, as you can see here. So you got them here. You got the gas cost increase, transaction envelope, and optional access list. So not really going to change the world, but it's kind of one of the things that they need to do. And we'll go on to what Ethereum 2.0 will bring it eventually over time in the next, year or so, give or take, when it's fully developed and released. Seems like we've been talking about this since 2016, Ethereum 2.0. It's finally almost here. Oh, I know. Anyways, moving on. This one is the one that we kind of want more than anything, right? So this is going to be the one, which is the big one, the one in July, right? The EIP 1559. Now, if you're new to the Ethereum ecosystem, this is the one that is the biggest pain in the ass. It is the fees, right? The fees are a problem, right? So if we go on to CoinMarketCap, just for an example here, it's currently 1.5. Yeah, it's pretty disgusting in all hindsight here. Now, if we want to go on to, let's just look at EveScan or whatever. Quick little gander, just so you know this, right? Going through the Ethereum Scan website, go over to this side of it, onto the top. There's all kinds of resources here, right? They're very, very interesting. When you go to more and explore, go to Gas Tracker, right? This will tell you what the cost is. So you can see on Uniswap, for example, the high is $64 at the moment if you wanted to push it through. Pretty expensive stuff, which is not good. So you can see that most of the gas fees are actually used technically on Uniswap, Tether, and obviously MetaMask, and obviously USDC, Coin, etc., right? Disgusting, right? We all want that to change. So what essentially this will do is the whole spectrum of gas fees will change massively, which will increase the workflow, increase the transactional value of everything that you see in Ethereum, removing that bottleneck, increasing the speed as well, making life better. But there's still a few little niggly things that we haven't worked out yet, so we need to figure that out with more and more votes in terms of how it does. So essentially this is going to fix the numerous issues with the experience. The user gas fees to miners for the transaction to include in a block. That gas fee will be sent, and it'll be technically a burn element potentially put into this. So this has kind of not been fully worked out yet, which is why we're kind of speculating, but there may well be a time very, very soon, not financial advice, not kind of information that's fully apparent here. There may well be eventually a burn rate mechanism within Ethereum, maybe, which is kind of going to be pretty good. If that does happen, it gives essentially Ethereum a maximum supply. It also allows it to kind of become more tangible as an asset, as money, because it'll obviously decrease in circulation, which is pretty good. But at the end of the day, it's all ifs, whats, and whens at the moment until it's fully released. We don't know for fully. So it's interesting. Right, the next bit we need to talk about though is what happened yesterday. Visa will now start settling their transactions with cryptocurrency payments using USDC on the Ethereum blockchain, which in my opinion is probably one of the smartest moves they could ever do. At the moment, it doesn't sound very good. It's like, haha, yeah, buy a coffee, it's like $3, but it's going to cost you $15 in fees and you've got to wait 45 minutes, right? Yeah, but look into the future. If the Ethereum's sorted and the network's fine and they're going to use a proper asset, i.e. a audited, regulated, stable currency, That's good. That's really, really good. And the only option really they could have used, let's be honest here, unless they use Pacos, which fair enough. But at the end of the day, this is a starting point, and it's going to be all done on the crypto.com exchange. It's a starting point. It's the road to what could be the future in terms of payment settling with traditional systems using the Ethereum blockchain. So yeah, pretty happy. It's a starting point, as I say. Moving on to the next bit, we've got to talk about, obviously, Ethereum 2.0, right? Before we get into chart analysis. So we've talked about Berlin update. We've talked about what the new fee structure could be, but we've also got other things as well. So essentially what the vision is here is more scalable, more and more transactions. Only 15 transactions per second at the moment. Or not, or is it per minute or whatever it is? It's a weird one. It's a weird system in terms of how it works with Ethereum. It's a bit odd. So up to 1,000, much faster. But it's also going to be introducing more and more stuff, which we'll go on to in a minute. More secure and more sustainable, obviously, for usage. But there's also going to be sharding change, which is kind of the thing that we want more than anything. Sharding allows it to grow at the rate that it needs to in terms of transaction speed for volume of usage. So if there's a lot of people jumping in, it'll shard off and it'll go faster, like Zilliqa, Harmony, all kinds of blockchains like that. Obviously Polkadot as well. So that's important. We're currently at the point here that this level here where we are right now. We're starting to grow into the next levels into it, and then we're going to have docking, which is the main network dock and merge. The beacon change at some point. Yeah. Basically going to get rid of the mining side of the POW, the sustained issue of mining, which could be the issue. So it's slowly getting there, right? It is slowly getting there, but that is the biggest problem. Slowly. It's taking its time, but I still am very, very bullish for Ethereum. Now, the one thing that we do need to talk about, and it's kind of obvious here, is price analysis, right? We've got this BT. If I go to the weekly time frame, you'll probably see more of this in more information. So when we start looking at this, right, just to give you a pointer, make it nice and simple. There we go. So we've had a nice run over 2020 into 2021, right? In the BTC pair, this is currently, we're starting in BTC, and the true value asset is, I believe we are still in a nice uptrend. We're still looking quite good, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But the next move could be the most pivotal ever in terms of the life cycle of what Ethereum could give us as a price asset. Why do I say this? Is because when you zoom out and you look at where it's been in the past with the old ICO boom, it's been a lot higher. And this is why I'm starting to think, well, maybe $5,000 is a round number, but also not too far-fetched, which you're probably looking at this title going, okay, what's wrong with crypto mobster these days? But when you think we are slowly trickling up, we've still, in my opinion, still got a lot of way to go. And if we are looking to retrace, let's just go from current price levels, give or take around here, and we do, just put it out there, go up to even that point there, which is a previous level, well, that's 173%. So when we start adding the factor here that if Bitcoin stays roughly the same sort of price, well, that's already going to be very, very close to that $5,000 mark, and that isn't even the top yet. So it's not too far-fetched at all, especially if it does it. Now, if you think what Bitcoin's going to give us, and if we do this, let me just get my phone out so I can make sure that I get this correct without looking like a complete ding-dong. Let's just say that plus, we'll just say 200%, give or take. That's currently just under $4,000, give or take, right? In and around that region, but that's only just at 200%. It could go a lot higher, even if it does go to 300% or even higher, and could go even higher than this, by the way. Ethereum could become really strong versus Bitcoin as well, because it's going to be the second biggest asset. It may be the most used as well, obviously, like overall out of everything. We don't know how it's going to react with the changes. We've also got to remember Uniswap's getting more and more popular. Uniswap version 3 is coming out. There's also other networks that are going to be adopting the DeFi world a lot more easy and more sustained and more just better, innit? Let's be honest. It's just going to become much better if these fixes are done. So when we start talking about that, that could be quite important. But looking at the likes of the USD chart, it looks really far-fetched, but you've got to think, that previous chart I showed you in terms of BTC, it's somewhat, that's how prices move. They don't move in USD. The USD price is governed by what Bitcoin does. If Bitcoin goes to 100, 120, 150k, and Ethereum doesn't move with it, there's a problem. There's a huge, huge problem. So we'll be careful. And the one thing that I mentioned in a previous video not too long ago was Ethereum is only, what, $400 more than what it was at all-time high in 2017, 2018, when Bitcoin was only at 20K for like 10 seconds, literally. Like, it didn't even get there. So it's important to get that fact across. I feel it's undervalued. Now, let's not look at this. Let's just look at the BTC pair. If this does retrace this entire move and it goes right the way up to that top, it's going to be at least a 3x from here. And we're looking very, very close. And that is if Bitcoin stays where it is. Personally, I don't think Bitcoin's going to stay here for that much longer. I think it will start pressing up towards all-time highs up to 70, maybe $80,000 at some point in this year. So I think it's somewhat potentially very, very likely that we may well see a much more valued Ethereum. If that is $3,000, $4,000, even $5,000, totally possible. It doesn't seem that far-fetched when you look at the fact of this chart is so undervalued. And that is not financial advice, that's just fact, that's just there. We've not had the updates yet. We've not had the run yet. We've not had the prestige area. It feels like Ethereum somewhat suppressed at the moment. Moving on to the last bit I want to talk about is obviously we got this on. This is on Prime XBT. It's like an article that I wrote in February, right? And it kind of drawn together what Ethereum is and kind of another thing as well of price predictions of like key individuals in the space, as you can see here. So up to potentially $9,000. Another one here up to $9,000. We've got obviously Mike Novogratz here, potentially hitting some nice levels. This is like kind of old levels, but when we start looking down, they've actually done their own price analysis. This is what they're expecting here. Potential high of 25,000 this year, which is absolutely crazy. Potential lows. Yes, the price predictions, but I'm just trying to show you here that, yeah, maybe $5,000 to you guys seems quite far-fetched when you think where it is right now. But some people are like, oh my God, cool. But people will take these as gospel. So please make sure you do your own research. You've done your own little coupon checker, i.e. you're not going to put all your funding tokens in here at once. Make sure you bought at pullback. And if you have been holding Ethereum for a while, now I hold a little bit of Ethereum. I don't have much. I used to have one, I now have 3. I don't have much, right? I'll be perfectly honest with you. But at the end of the day, I'm looking to flip it. If this goes up in that BTC value, as I say, I'll just move into Bitcoin and then I'll carry on just doing whatever I want to do and see what happens. I'll just gradually grow it. I'm not really that fussed. But at the end of the day, most people know my priority is more Polkadot than Ethereum, but this will help. Remember, cross-chain interoperability will help both of them. So opinions are, let me know what you think. I feel $5,000 will probably most likely happen at some point in the next coming months, maybe within the next year potentially. But I'm somewhat excited about what the updates will bring. Not so much for like the Ethereum price, more for the market. The ease of access to purchase newer coins on the likes of the decentralized exchanges. What will that do to the centralized exchanges? How will that affect things? I think it's going to be an interesting dynamic if you can buy your cryptocurrency at a normal price range. Very, very important. But we all know that these gas fees are unsustainable. They're ridiculous, right? There's no point testing a transaction on Uniswap if you've got to pay so much money to do it. It's crazy. It's unbelievable. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, let me know what you think, and I'll see you again very, very soon.